So anyway, thank you all for joining me and being here today and taking the time out to join me and do this together. Today we're going to be talking about empowerment and how to take back control of our life and our health through taking back control of our thoughts, if you like, and not being a slave to our thoughts. So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. And at some point I'm going to hypnotize you all and take you through some hypnosis together so that you can do that for yourself. Now, as a hypnotherapist, I use metaphor and storytelling in pretty much everything I do. And we've had some strange weather here, some really hot weather and then some really stormy weather. And I live right on the coast. And it reminds me of a story of a man who, one day he was walking by the sea. And he looked down on the beach. There was a young boy who looked to be throwing pebbles frantically into the water. And he couldn't figure out why this kid was doing this. It was a horrible day. It had been blowing, it had been stormy. And this kid was on the beach just throwing these pebbles. So he walked down to the beach and he saw this kid and he realized that there had been a storm. And this storm had washed all these starfish up onto the beach. And so the kid was picking up one starfish at a time and throwing it back into the water. And this guy said, what's the point? There's thousands of these starfish. He said, what difference can you make? And this kid picked up a starfish and he threw it into the sea. He said, it made a difference for that one. I'll come back to that story in a bit after we've done this work together. And I'll tell you why it's on my mind, why I was thinking about that story. So let me first tell you about this empowerment, if you like, this therapy we're going to do today for empowerment and how it came about. I have a student / client in Holland. We've been working together. She's a hypnosis trainee. She's fascinated by hypnosis and all it's doing. So we're working together. And so she wrote some words for me to feed back to her to enhance her life and empower her. And they were so good that I thought, okay, well, I asked permission. I said, can I make an audio for you? And then we'll put this audio out for anyone that wants to use it for themselves and offer it to them, really to get some feedback for my student so that she had an idea of what her words were doing. So I just put it out there on Facebook and over 400 people asked for that audio, and it took a bit of time, but I sent it to pretty much everyone that's asked for that audio. And this is what today's going to be based on. Her words, my work as well, a collaboration, if you like, between her words and my work to bring about this therapy we're going to do today. So at some point, I'll say it up front, I'm going to be reading some of her words, which is unusual for me because I don't work by scripts, but it's quite recent that I've had these words. So I will be reading those words to you while you're in hypnosis, because I believe they're of real value and will help you. So the idea today, as I said, is to be able to get back control of our thoughts. And we are, to some extent, a slave to our thoughts. We have this continuous, if you like, white noise or chatter going on in our mind. And a lot of that is negative chatter, but we don't really notice it because it is like white noise. It's there all the time. And the only way that we can be aware that we are focusing on negative thoughts is the feeling we have in our bodies. So that is how we can tell what's going on in our mind, because it's impossible almost to listen for those thoughts all the time, to recognize when we have a negative thought and try and overcome it or ignore it or change it to a positive thought. And to try and look out for those is difficult. But what we can do is recognize when we feel different, when we're not our happy selves, when we're feeling under the weather or we're feeling down. And then we can go back and check what's going on in our mind, because we can't think something negative without affecting us physically. In the same way, we can't be physically injured without us affecting us psychologically. It's just impossible. We talk about the mind and the body, when in reality, There is no separation. We are one organism, and what we think affects the way we feel, or what we feel affects the way we think. So today I'm going to give you the opportunity to get back in touch with those thoughts so that you can choose, which seems a big thing to say when we're talking about the mind, but to choose which thoughts you want to have. You know, most people think we have no control over this. I'm just thinking this, it's just the way it is. That is not the case. What I want you to understand, and I've spoken about this a few times over the talks that I've done for the College of Medicine, is that nothing exists outside of our skull except as perception. You know, what one of you think I look like and what someone else think I look like, although you're looking at the same thing, if you could for a moment have that person's perception, it would be so different to yours that it'd be sort of psychedelic, it'd be mind-blowing. But we think we're experiencing the same things. But nothing exists outside of your skull except as perception, even pain and emotions. You know, we tend to think, well, I'm just feeling this way, it's just the way it is. But once we understand that none of that, and it's a bit hard to accept because we as human beings truly and rightly believe that we're a special species on this planet, which we are, because we have emotions and we have thoughts and we have feelings, we understand that. But the thinking of that none of that is more than a chemical soup going on in our brain, which can be changed. You know, your perception of who you are, of the people around you, can be changed with a blunt instrument or a scalpel. That's just the way it is. Nothing's changed outside of your skull, but your perception of what that is can change rapidly by a blow to the head or any kind of injury. And yet we think we are our thoughts. And the fact is, we have no control over our thoughts. You don't know what you were thinking this time yesterday. And you don't know what you're going to be thinking 3 thoughts from now. And yet we believe we are our thoughts. Thoughts bubble up. Some of them catch our attention and then we're focused on that thought. But thoughts are bubbling up all the time. They're created all the time. And it has been said that each thought starts off as a pure thought. You know, our bodies and our minds are always, I mean, our instinctive, intuitive self is only ever working towards thriving. From where you are to thriving. It continually works in that way. So each thought, if you like, starts as a pure thought, but then it's filtered up through the matrix, which is our experience of our life. And so by the time that thought reaches our consciousness and we're aware of that thought, it's gone through this matrix of all of our experiences. And depending on what those experiences are, will depend on how that thought reaches our conscious mind and how we react to it. But we have a choice. We can choose which thoughts we want to act on and which thoughts we don't. Most of us, and I'm talking about myself as well, seem to be controlled by our thoughts, in as much as I want to lose weight, and yet I see a chocolate bar and I eat it. And part of me is saying, you know, I want to be 11 stone, and the other part is saying, yeah, but you really want that chocolate bar. And we think we just give into it, when in reality we just have to take a step back and say, what do we really want? What's really important to us? Because then we can start to make those choices. But we accept to a greater extent that we just are the way we are. You know, we call ourselves weak-willed, or we say, you know, I'm not any good at this, or I can't achieve this. But that's not true. And one of my favorite quotes is a Shakespearean quote, and it's this: our doubts are traitors, and they make us lose that which we oft should win by fearing to attempt. How many times did you think about doing something, and then a thought came in, or maybe in the form of a voice which said, what's the point? You're never going to achieve it. And so we don't do that. Our thoughts, our doubts are traitors that make us lose that which we oft should win by fearing to attempt. You know, once we understand this, because people ask me, you know, I'm a hypnotherapist, and one of the things I deal with is phobias. And people ask me, you know, what is the most common phobia? Is it spiders? Is it snakes? Is it needles? You know, what is the most common phobia? The most common phobia is the fear of failure. And most of us, if not all of us, at some point will be affected by that phobia. The things we want to do, and then the thought goes through our head, but how are you going to feel if you fail at it? You know, what about if you're going to be embarrassed? Why would you do that if you're going to risk, you know, failing at it? And so we don't do it. And that is one of the biggest things that holds us back from achieving everything we want in our life, whether that's physical goals, career goals, financial goals, everything. The thought comes in, but you're not any good at this, and you're never going to achieve it. And we listen to those thoughts, and we don't even listen, we just act on that voice in our head. What I'm saying to you, and what I want for you by the time we've finished our time together, is that you will be able to recognize which thoughts empower you and which thoughts limit you. And then you have a choice. And you might say, well, do we have a choice? We absolutely do have a choice. We can choose how we want to behave. I was talking about anger management on one of the talks that we did over the 2-week period, and how I believe that anger is a very indulgent emotion. If you wouldn't speak to your boss in the way you speak to your wife or your husband or your child, then all you are is a bully. Yeah, we know under certain circumstances we would hold on to that anger. We would not express that anger. And so we do have control over our emotions. We do have control over our behaviour. We just tend to give into it or accept it. And what I'm saying to you, and what I want for you today, is that once we've had this time together, you'll recognise that whatever you thought you were, and I'm going to say this now, whatever you think you are far, far more than that. And once you understand that, and once you understand that you can take back control over what you're thinking, and you can decide whether the thought that's going through your head empowers you or disempowers you. And you can decide to think something else. And you might think this is too simple. This is just can't be true. But it is. As I said to you a moment ago, nothing exists outside of your skull except its perception. Every emotion that we give into, every emotion that we feel, it might sound harsh, but it's no more than, you know, electrically excitable cells in your brain firing off. It's a chemical soup. We think that love and hate and anger, all these things that we hold, it's just the way it is. It isn't. And we can decide if this emotion that I'm feeling suits me or not. And we can take back that control, and we can decide how we want to live. So we're going to be talking about thoughts, about how we can gain control over those thoughts. It's not even gaining control over the thoughts, that's the wrong word. It's recognizing that these thoughts are going to appear and they're going to bubble up and they are going to be caught by our conscious mind. And then for the understanding that we can choose how we react to that thought. And that's what I'm talking about today. Not just being a slave to our thoughts, to that irrational fear that we feel. When we know at our heart it's irrational, it's not real. You know, when we know that the pain that we're experiencing is no longer of any use to us, and having the choice to be able to say, oh, I wish to ignore that. To be able to tune your body up by tapping into all your own healing abilities. You know, I don't actually do anything in the therapy room other than talk, which, as you can probably tell, is very easy for me. You know, it's easy to get me going, it's very difficult to stop me. Other than that, I act as a catalyst. I don't actually do any healing in my therapy room. None of it. I don't do any change work in my therapy room. The only person in my therapy room that has the answer to the problem, has the ability, the strengths, the understanding and knowledge to change how to change that problem or overcome that problem, is the person in the therapy chair, not in my chair. The moment we as therapists start to think, I know how you feel, that is the worst thing that a therapist can think, because we don't. You might think, oh, when your client's telling you about their childhood and about their life, and some of that stuff might resonate with things that happen in your life. And it's very easy for us as therapists to think, I know how you feel. But the moment you start thinking that I know how you feel, you could be a million miles off. Unfortunately, if you're a therapist, you might be disagreeing with me right now. But for me, I assume I know nothing about how that person feels. I know nothing about their problem. But what I do believe is they know everything they need to know. They have all the resources they need to overcome that problem. And all I have to do as a therapist is get them out of their own way. You know, the conscious part of our brain, the part that believes it is us, is in fact the least dependable part of our being. It's very, very limited. It can only hold 7 plus or minus 2 things at the same time. That's why we remember our phone numbers in chunks of 3. You know, 0751 972 3106. To try and remember that string of numbers in one hit would be almost impossible. So we chunk it down because our conscious mind is limited. But your unconscious mind is unlimited. It's like a warehouse of everything you've ever experienced or learned. And all we have to do is summon those thoughts up and ask for the answer to these questions sometimes. And not only is this psychological, we can and we do affect our physical health by what we're thinking. There is no doubt about that. You know, I've often heard it said that medication might not always be necessary, but belief in a recovery is. If you don't believe you're going to recover, it doesn't matter what the doctors do and the medics do. If you don't believe you're going to recover, you aren't going to recover, because that's just the way our bodies work. So we can change our physical being by thinking differently, by asking those questions of ourselves, or asking it of the part of us that is capable of making those changes, your unconscious mind. I'm not saying do this at a bus stop because you get arrested, but you know, just ask the question. I need an answer to this question. I would like my unconscious mind to do this for me, and then set it on a path, because it wants you to be well. It wants you to thrive. It just needs a clear direction. But as human beings, we tend to focus on all the things that can go wrong. And that's basically because one of the most powerful drivers in our body is survival. And so it's always looking to keep you safe. But sometimes, because of our experience, because of our childhood, because of the way we've been brought up, it's on overtime. It's working on overtime. So it's working too hard for you, if you like. It's not only reminding you of the things that actually are dangerous, it's reminding you of all the things that possibly could hurt you. And so our lives become fenced in by these negative thoughts. So what I'm asking you to do today is open your mind up to what I'm saying here. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to do anything that I'm asking you to do. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. But I am going to ask your unconscious mind to allow you the understanding that you can be more than you already are. And to understand that whatever you think you are miles more than that. The strength that we can find under certain circumstances. You know, if you look at a weight and you think there's no chance of me picking it up, you can't pick it up. But you know, we've heard that story about the car that's on top of the child, and you know, a lady walks past, she doesn't think about it, she just pulls that car up so they can pull the kid out. These things happen. We can find these incredible strengths within us, but to find them, they must already be there. And so all we have to do is ask for the answers to these questions, and ask our unconscious mind to give us that strength at times when we need it. And not just physical strength, but emotional strength to get through things. We are in this lockdown at the moment. It's one of the worst times I've ever known as a society, as a planet. You know, and people are suffering, and people are, at this point in time, anxious about their future. But again, you know, when you're in a situation when we can't do anything about this, you know, we have to go by what the science is saying. It's no point in thinking, oh, well, it won't affect me. But we are in this situation, but we can control what we're thinking about the future. I'm going to say this now, it's a strange thing to say, but nothing is real. And by that, I don't mean the computer you're looking at. Yes, that might be real. But when we talk about our past and problems from our past, our memory's not 100%. And on top of that, there's nothing we can do about the past. The past is a vacuum. It's a void that stretches back to the Big Bang. It's gone. Even what I've just said is now in that void, in that vacuum. It's done, it's gone. The future hasn't happened yet. So it can only be imagined. It's not real. And once we recognize this, and once we recognize that when we're worrying about a future event, or worrying how our job's going to be after this, or worrying about how life's going to be after all of this chaos, all we're doing is using our imagination. At this point in time, we may as well imagine the best outcome, because either way, it's not real. So for me now, and this is just me, and you want to take this on board, that's great, because it helps me. You know, I present all around the world, 200 people at the time, you know, at conference rooms. And there have been a time in my life when I'm thinking about standing up in front of 200 people and talking for an hour, 2 hours, it might have worried me. And that's perfectly natural, because you've got to stand up in a lot of people, you can embarrass yourself. So how I approach those things would be in that kind of state, you know, worrying about whether I go red, whether I lose the track of what I'm saying, all of those things. But now that I recognize that at this point in time, whatever I'm thinking about that conference or that presentation is only my imagination. And I'm going to imagine something. We can't not imagine anything. So I might as well imagine the best outcome, because either way it's not real. But now the way I approach a presentation, the way I approach a conference is completely different. This is what I imagine now, rightly or wrongly, because it empowers me. I imagine all the people in that room are going to be friendlies. They're all going to love what I've got to say, and we're going to have a great time together. And that tends to be what happens, because I step onto that stage with that thought in my mind. But you know, how we think about it, you know, this is a bit of research was done, you know, looking into hypnosis, how it works, how our brain works. And they put this guy in a MRI scanner so they could actually see what was going on in his brain as he was thinking. Different parts of his brain were lighting up. And they gave him a simple task. And the task was this. He had a button in his right hand and a button in his left hand. And all he had to do, whenever he thought about it randomly, was press the button. That's all he had to do. No special time. Whenever he thought about pressing the button, press the button. Now, the guys who were looking at how his brain was working, which parts of his brain were lighting up, after about 5 or 10 minutes, they could predict which thumb he was going to press, even though he thought he was pressing his thumb down as he thought about it in that instant. But the decision to press that thumb had already been made out of consciousness. And sometimes it was several seconds before he pressed his thumb. So what we understand from this is that we can't do anything. I can't pick this cup up. I can't meet you for the first time, speak to you for the first time, without my brain running to an outcome. You know, I could pick that cup up. I'm sitting here like this. To build a robot, to do that one simple task, to move from where I am now, to pick that cup up without dropping it or crushing it, even more, to pour water into my mouth without spilling and put it back down, to build a robot to do that would be immense. You'd need the best mechanics, the best computer people, all of these great people to build a robot to that one simple task. But the moment I think I want to drink, my brain will figure out every single move I have to make to do that, and it will do that before I even move. It will do it in a millisecond. So with this understanding, you cannot pick up a cup without your brain running to an outcome. It has to figure out everything you need to do before you do it. And it's the same with everything you do. Out of consciousness, your brain will run to the outcome. But once we understand this, that at this point in time, before I move to pick the cup up, it's still in my imagination. It's not happened yet. And so I can decide whether I'm going to carry that out or not. And it's the same with everything we do. All of your worries, all of your anxieties about what's going to happen next or what's going to happen in the future, once you recognize that they are it's just your imagination at this point, then you can decide whether that imagination empowers you or not. And you can take back control of that, because it's just your imagination. It's not real. So in a while, I'm going to hypnotize you, and I'm going to talk to you about taking back control, about empowering yourself, about the understanding that we can choose how we want to feel and how we want to think. You know, this is one of the greatest things that we can learn as human beings, because if we just do what we think in the moment, and there are people that don't have that gap. You know, I've got a son of 19. It's the same. He thinks and he acts. You know, but it's just, that's just him, and he'd have to train himself to live differently. Most of us, we think about something and then we think about the outcome, and there is a gap between acting. But for a lot of us and a lot of situations, the thought comes in and we just react physically, and it affects us physically. But if we're feeling it, and this is what I was saying to you earlier, the way to recognize whether the voice in your head is negative or positive, whether the thoughts that are going into your head are negative or positive, is by listening to your body. Because if you're not feeling very happy, if you're feeling down, if you're not feeling the energy you should have, then we need to start listening to what thoughts are going on in our head. And if we recognize that those thoughts are negative thoughts, then we can decide and choose whether to act on them or not, recognizing that they're not anything more than electrodes and chemicals going around in your skull. None of it's real. So with that, enough talk from me. I'm going to hypnotize you. All I'm going to ask you to do is get into this with me. You can listen to me if you want. Excuse me. We'll have that drink now. Listen to me if you want, but I don't mean this rudely. I'm not really interested in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind can go anywhere it wants. It can listen, but I'm not interested. Your unconscious mind will hear everything I've got to say. It will take from it what's needed for you to free yourself from any stuck state you're in, from any kind of irrational fear or anxiety you're feeling, and have the life you want. And you can do this, you know, and today I'm going to give you a suggestion for self-hypnosis, so that anytime you want, you can find a place where you can sit quietly, take yourself back into hypnosis, because this is a natural ability we all have. We just don't know how to do it, but we all have this ability to tap into all of our inner strengths, abilities and skills. I'm going to show you how to do that. So from this day forward, whatever it is you want to achieve, whether it's a physical goal, whether it's a career goal, whether it's a personal goal or a financial goal, you better take yourself back into hypnosis, picture what you want to happen, and I'm going to state this now, it has to be in a positive, because negatives, again, they only exist in language, they don't exist in any other form in the universe. In the universe, things exist. Only in language do things not exist. And once we understand that, and we understand that a lot of the time, what we're saying to ourselves is, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to happen. But understand that the don't part of that sentence doesn't register. And all your brain is getting is exactly what you don't want. And it will focus on it because it cannot process the negative, and you'll end up getting what you don't want. From today, and if you take nothing else from this hour of me talking to you, from today, if you hear yourself saying, I don't want this to happen, or I don't want to feel like this, immediately change it to what you do want. Because as I said at the very beginning of this talk, your unconscious mind, it wants you to thrive. It needs a clear direction, and it cannot process the negative. So change your language to what you do want, and let go of your limitations. State what you want. Then the question is, how badly do I want it? What am I willing to do to make that happen? They're the only questions we need to ask ourselves. So if you're ready to get into this with me, what I'd like you to do is get comfortable, sit safely somewhere. Obviously, if you've got anything hot on your lap, a cup of tea, cup of coffee, put it down. Find a place where you can just sit quietly for maybe 20 minutes or so while you listen to my voice. Whatever happens next, the chair will support you. If for any reason the internet goes off, you will not be stuck in hypnosis. You will drift back up at some point in the future. Only be a few minutes from now, don't worry. So just get yourself comfortable in a place where you can just treat yourself for this next 20 minutes to something you want. I want you to start thinking about a goal that you have in your life, something you'd really love to happen. Because at some point, I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to make that happen for you. And we'll just see what happens. There are no promises here, okay? This is a collaboration between you and me. It's not me doing something to you. This is about you and I getting into this together so that you can achieve what you want, and so you can empower yourself to create the life you want, okay? So what I'd like you to do is this then. If you're ready, place your hands separately, place your feet separately, get comfortable, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close, but only as quickly as you're ready to make these changes, to empower yourself to have the life you want. That's right. Now just focus on those tiny muscles around those eyes. Imagine your temples massaged. And imagine your eyes are relaxing so completely they just won't work. Imagine that's happening as you listen to my voice. And every word I say is relaxing those muscles more and more. Imagine they're so relaxed they just won't work. And imagine now there is nothing you can do about that, just for a while. And let that feeling of relaxation just go down through your body. Flood your body with that feeling of relaxation. Your jaw, your tongue in your mouth, the throat, your neck, your shoulders. Let your arms relax completely. And as you do that, you may become aware of certain sensations. And you may even become aware of your pulse or your heart beating as you continue to relax more and more. And just for a moment, focus on your breathing. Imagine that you're breathing in calm and you're breathing out tension. You're breathing in calm and you're breathing out doubt. And let that calm feeling go down through your body, your stomach muscles relaxing, your hips, your legs, your calves, ankles, feet and toes. Like you've had a bliss anesthesia. Just for a while. Nobody wants anything, no one expects anything. There's nothing for you to do but to relax. Every muscle, nerve and fibre now relaxed. Like a handful of rubber bands just thrown on that chair, loose and relaxed. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. All that matters now is you and the sound of my voice and that feeling of empowerment to take back control of your life, to be everything you want to be. Because with the eyes closed, it becomes easier to become more and more aware of a variety of things that otherwise may go overlooked or ignored. Thoughts, feelings, sensations. the love you may have overlooked before. Just for a moment, think about the people you love. See those faces, feel that love, see those smiles, and feel that love now. Let that remind you of your real worth, your real value, just how loved you are. And as you feel that love, as you see those faces, every negative, limiting belief that you or anyone else ever placed on you is swept from your mind, replaced by a feeling of empowerment as you go deeper, deeper, deeper down now. Just dropping down through space and time. The unconscious mind can allow that gradual letting go. Letting go even of the effort it takes to be aware of exactly where the arms are positioned, or the hands or fingers. Even the effort it takes to be aware of which leg seems to relax more quickly or completely than the other may seem to be too much effort to bother making. But it takes time to experience that letting go. Your own time in your own way, as you begin to learn, even more than before, about your abilities, your capacities to learn as you relax. And the mind begins to drift down toward a place of quietness, a place of peaceful inner awareness, a place that almost seems to give off signals that directs awareness down toward it, into it, more and more comfortably, more and more effortlessly, more and more completely and deeply than before. Where even the effort it takes to be aware of the sound of my voice or the meaning of my words may almost seem to be too much effort to bother making. It's so much easier simply to relax and enjoy that letting go, allowing events to occur in your own time, in your own way, a drifting down, deeper and deeper now. And as you drift even deeper, my voice, my words are going to drift with you to become a part of your experience now. And every word I say is going to take you even deeper into that wonderful state of hypnosis. And as you drift into that state, everything I say now becomes your reality. Every suggestion I give you, you'll act upon and carry out without hesitation. It's now your reality. Because you have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And that unconscious mind, the back of the mind, can continue to hear, to understand and respond to those things I might say without the need for you to do anything at all. It's so much easier for the conscious mind simply to relax and enjoy that letting go. Letting go even of the effort it takes to make the effort that it might take. To tell the exact position of arms, legs, or the entire body now that seems to drift through time and space. That wonderful, free floating place of effortless relaxation and letting go. Allowing events to occur in their own time, in their own ways. You drift as a mind. And that mind drifts without boundaries, without borders, without limits. See yourself out there. It's the summer 2020. You're with your friends and your family once more. See those faces, feel that love. Now feel those hugs and kisses and feel that love right now. Feel that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of joy. And look back to now and notice the things you did along the way that led to that feeling of freedom. The unconscious mind can allow those changes to occur, while the conscious mind drifts off someplace else entirely now. That's right, in your own time, in your own way. Choosing only to create how you want to be. Using that strength to only choose how you want to feel. Choosing how you want to think. And to only envision what you would like to have happen. As you go deeper, deeper, deeper down now. The unconscious mind can allow those changes to occur automatically, while the conscious mind drifts off someplace else entirely now. That's right. Because with everything you learn and every wisdom you are gaining, you go deeper and deeper, and you are finding new ways to improve your life in your own time and in your own way, choosing only to create how you want to be, using that strength to only choose how you want to feel, choosing how you want to think, and to only envision what you would like to have happen, aware of events that occur along the way, as the unconscious mind utilizes that opportunity to alter your awareness and to continue that learning in whatever way is the right way for you. Improving your thinking, finding exactly those things you need to take the next step, to see more clearly, to think those thoughts that are best for you, to only accept those feelings that are beneficial. All of these in accordance with your own life's dreams and all that you want to achieve, how you want to feel, finding exactly those next steps to expand your physical capabilities in the most beneficial way. As you drift deeper, deeper, deeper down now, just dropping down through space and time, down toward a place of total bliss. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. Understanding and knowing more and more that you can do everything. And as you realize how far you've already come, and that it's okay to feel good about acknowledging all that you have done, and your wisdom and your strength, you know you will only continue to improve in the best way. Integrating all of these learnings and continue to move forward day by day. See yourself out there living your life the way you want to live it, free of every negative limiting belief, free of every anxiety, every irrational thought. Feel that feeling of freedom now, that feeling of empowerment. Learning that feeling of letting go, allowing the unconscious to assume more and more responsibility for guiding, directing awareness as you continue to learn even more than before about your abilities, your capabilities to change as you relax. That's right, more and more deeply into that feeling. And every wisdom you are gaining, you're finding new ways to improve your life. See it clearly in your mind. I can wonder whether you're aware that you've drifted deeply into hypnosis. Because the deeper you go, the better you'll feel. And the better you feel, the deeper you'll go. 10, 20, 100 times deeper now. Every word I say will take you deeper and deeper. And everything I say now becomes your reality. The deeper you go, the better you're going to feel. Just for a while, drifting deeper into hypnosis. When you look back at all the times you've persevered, all the things you've achieved, all that you've been through, the lessons you've learned, how you are changing all the time, and all that you've created for yourself, you understand how strong you are, and understand how you can create the power that you need, and how you can use that power from this point forward, choosing only to create what you want. Deeper, deeper, deeper down into that feeling. And as you drift deeper and deeper, my voice, my words are going to drift with you to become a part of your experience now. Every word I say takes you even deeper. Every limitation swept from your mind, every negative limiting belief. And from today, wherever it's safe and appropriate to do so, you sit quietly, you hear the word relax 4 times in your mind. And on the 4th time of hearing that word, wherever it's safe and appropriate to do so, you will instantly go back into this wonderful deep state of hypnosis. The deeper you go, the better you're going to feel. And the better you feel, the deeper you'll go. 10, 20, 100 times deeper now. Continue to learn, continue to grow stronger, and find more and more ways to apply all these learnings you've gained. Because with everything you learn and every wisdom you are gaining, you are finding new ways to improve your life. You continue to improve your thinking, recognizing that you can choose what thoughts you want to act on, to recognize those thoughts that empower you and those thoughts that disempower you. And you now have the understanding and the strength to choose how you want to act in any situation, because now it belongs to you to take back control of your life, to take back control of your thoughts, to recognize that you are not your thoughts, that you have a choice. Even as you go deeper and deeper now, finding exactly those next steps to expand your physical capabilities in the most beneficial way, understanding and knowing more and more that you can do everything you want to do. You suddenly realize how far you've already come, and it's okay to feel good about acknowledging all that you have done, your wisdom and your strength. You know that you will only continue to improve in the best way. See yourself out there once again, living your life the way you want to live it. Fit and well, happy and free. It's the summer, it's the autumn 2020. We're through the crisis and you're there with the people you love, your friends, going out again, meeting people, your friends, your family, being able to hold the people you love, to be close to the people you love. See it clearly in your mind. Understand you can and you will achieve that goal by looking after yourself right now, by taking care of yourself right now. Understand your worth and your value. And from today, you will take care of yourself. You will be kinder to yourself because you are worth it. And integrate all of these learnings and continue to move forward day by day. Once again, see those faces, feel that love. Continue to learn, continue to grow stronger. Find more and more ways to apply all of these learnings you've gained. Because with everything you learn and every wisdom you are gaining, you are finding new ways to improve your life and improve your thinking. And understanding you no longer have to be a slave to your thoughts, to your emotions, to decide, to choose how you want to feel, what you want to think, how you want to be. It's an incredible understanding. And whatever you think you are far, far more than that. And from today, you will use that understanding, take back control of you, finding exactly those things you need to take those next steps to where you want to be, to see more clearly, to think those thoughts that are best for you, to only accept those feelings that are beneficial, and all of these in accordance with your life's dreams and all that you want to achieve and how you want to feel, finding exactly those next steps to expand your physical capabilities, to let go of every negative, limiting belief that was ever placed on you, to make a decision to be well, to be happy, because now it belongs to you. Knowing more and more, you can do everything you want to do. As you realise how far you've already come, and it's okay to feel good about acknowledging that, acknowledging all you've done, your strengths, you know you will only continue to improve in the best way for you. Integrating all of these learnings now. And as that understanding spreads through your body, once again, see the faces of the people you love, people that love you. Feel that love. Feel it like a burning hot sun in the summer sky. See those smiles, feel that love. Feel that love now. Shrink it down to a white hot ball of light as big as a golf ball, and pull that into the very core of your being, and feel it emanating out through every cell, every fibre of your body, into the very marrow of your bones. Feel it now, and let that remind you of just how loved you are, your real worth and your real value as a person, as a being, as you begin to use more and more of you. And go with your unconscious often as you need to. Only when the unconscious mind knows and has made those changes at a molecular cellular level, and allows the conscious mind to accept the changes made. Because in a while I'm going to count to 10. And every suggestion I've given you, you'll act upon and carry out without hesitation. It's now your reality. On 8, your eyes will open. You'll feel like you've had a ton weight lifted, like you've had the blinkers removed. You'll see things differently. You'll experience things differently. And on 10, that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of freedom is going to grow stronger day by day as you take back complete control of you, of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions, because now it belongs to you. So get ready. As I count to 10, on 8 your eyes will open. You're going to feel incredible. And on 10, that feeling of empowerment will grow stronger day by day. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful now. 2, to achieve that feeling of freedom and empowerment and do it brilliantly. 3, a feeling of freedom from every limitation that was ever placed on you. 4, feel the force of that energy and love through every cell, every fibre, every molecule of your body. 5, feeling incredibly alive now. 6, 7, 8, eyes open, you're feeling absolutely incredible. 9, 10. Okay. Well, take your time. If you're still just drifting up, that's fine. And I hope you've enjoyed that experience, and I hope you've enjoyed this time together today. And I hope something of what I've said has maybe made you think slightly differently about what you can do and how you can be. Now, as I said to the very beginning of this, a lot of the words that I've spoken today in hypnosis came from the student who sent those words to me. Now, that audio is now on my website. It's called the Empowerment Audio. And some hypnotherapists and other therapists have asked for the script, you know, because they want to learn it, they want to use it with their own clients, which is fine. So I've now written that script for that audio, and I've created the audio. And it's on my website, and you can see the address for it there. It's free. Okay, yeah, Freddy Jacquin, empowerment, audio, and script. So if you're interested in downloading that audio, it's free. And as some of you know, I've got a quit smoking process going on out there. It's a free honesty project, if you like. People can go onto Quit Smoking, download the audio and the pamphlet, read it, quit smoking. Only if they want to, they can donate. Now, because of the situation we're in with this coronavirus, I read the other day that it's going to create another 215 million people who are going hungry in the world. There's already 800 million. And so it's an incredible amount of people that go to bed every night. 1 in 9 people on this planet go to bed every night hungry. And I was walking, doing my exercise the other day, and it occurred to me, if that was my child, if that was my grandchild, and they were hungry and they were in pain from hunger, and I could not feed them, I can't even imagine how it must feel for a parent, never mind the child who's starving. So I decided there and then that every penny of the quit smoking process, the Honesty Project, will go to UNICEF, Save the Children. And so because so many people are interested in this empowerment audio, I've done the same thing there. Now, you don't have to pay anything, you don't have to donate. But on the website, at that address, you can go there, you can download the audio, so you can use it for yourself. If you're a therapist and you want to download the script, you can do that, that's free. And only if you want to, because I will never know. there is a button on there. You can donate to Save the Children, and that is entirely up to you. And now, getting back to the story I was telling you at the beginning, you know, even if it's $5 or €5 that someone donates because they've quit smoking or because they've downloaded the audio, people say, well, that's such a drop in the ocean when you're talking about maybe close to 1 billion people that are starving. And it is. You know, and remember the story at the beginning where I said to you about the boy on the beach throwing the starfish back into the sea. And the man comes down and there are thousands of starfish. And he said, you know, what are you doing? You know, what possible difference can you make? And the kid picks up a starfish and he throws it into the sea, and he said it made a difference for that one. And so if you're interested in this audio, if you're interested in the script, if you want to, I would suggest you just donate maybe £5 and use the audio, use the script for your clients, help your clients if you want to do that. And even if it's £5, it may just make a difference to one kid for one day. So it's just a thought for today. Thank you all for joining me today. I feel really foolish sitting here talking to myself. So I hope you've enjoyed it and hope you've taken from it what's good for you and you'll use it for yourself. But stay well, stay safe, keep your distance till they say otherwise, and we'll all get back to our lives at some point. So be happy and be well, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.